Yes. This DJ will kick the floor in 3, 2, 1.
On the troll.
Hello. It's Friday. And I hope you are enjoying your Friday. It's a couple of hours before Saturday. And yeah, we are here. And a lot of things have happened. And where we see wisdom, we must congratulate wisdom.
Where did we see wisdom?
Mkwanazi.
Oh.
Mkwanazi baited Undonga.
He did.
I think he baited Undonga and then he was ready to withdraw after baiting Undonga. And Undonga has said mouthful.
It was the only way to get him to go and testify.
I think he baited Undonga nicely so. And so Undonga had to
distance himself from certain individuals and explain exactly what is going on.
And it happened. It worked. That's a smart move. That's a chess game. Smart. That's a smart move. It's not something that anyone can pull, in my opinion. That's my opinion, obviously. I'm not saying that is the case. But you feel the baiting. There might be meat into Ndonga, but when it comes to other stuff. But here was clearly, in my opinion, baited, which worked well in the hands of Mkwanas and ready to apologize when the time was right. And then, because we don't have journalists, we definitely don't have journalists. We just have people who we just have people who are just pointing to a certain direction that requires someone to point. So, in a sense, we just have barrels that are pointing to whoever that owner of that media points at. That's a problem. They won't be able to pick that one up. They will think, Ndonga lied. But this was, in my opinion, a clear, nice betting, and he felt right through it. And he started saying a lot of things that you might think of. So, but just a summary of that. We are passing that. Then we have a situation where MNISI has finally did what Mngomezulu did, which is to tell the judge that you are biased, in a nutshell. You are so biased, it's not even funny. When we raise an objection, we are told to argue that towards the end.
Yeah.
But when the states raise an objection, they get their way. And that, my friend, is called telling a person that you are biased without using the word biased.
Yes.
Because it aggravates them. It makes them look crazy in that court. A nice way of putting a note of a judge that is biased.
Mngomezulu said he's colluding. And he lost his marbles. He lost his mind. He's like, what? What do you mean colluding? Colluding what? You know, I can get impeached. Judges have gotten impeached for saying far less. What do you think is going to happen? You know, and he had a fit. He had a fit about the whole situation. And I even recall Mngomezulu's special application. A lot was happening, and you think, maybe he's learned his lesson or taken his notes 1 or 2, but they don't see us. We're just a part of the furniture. They're accused that just a part of the furniture of the court. The state can do whatever they want. It doesn't matter. There's no rule book for them. They just do as they please, and they go and quote the authorities that, you know, are just being twisted, and then they can get away with it. It's their turn. It's their chance.
Yeah, speaking of which, Emily, just to divert again, go back to that situation. There are many people that are going to get played in that Madlanga ad hoc committee, not Madlanga. There are many people. And I can tell you, everyone who's going to be there is going to be sitting exactly where Mkwanas wants them to be sitting and doing exactly where Mkwanas wants them or what Mkwanas wants them to do. Anyone, be it you volunteered or not, I can tell you right now, it is going to happen. In a nutshell, Begikade has just cleared that story of the watch that was stolen.
Yes.
Now, where does that put IP at? When Ledwaba goes there, if he's going to go there, what is he going to say? What is he going to say?
He wants to go to the Madlanga Commission.
You know what? They can call him also there.
Ad hoc. They must add him.
The problem with this thing, you need to prove now. And once you start proving, you are going to expose a lot of things. Some people are going to go there with what we call intelligence evidence that they're not supposed to have. And they're going to get arrested. Some of them might even be arrested by when they finish that testimony.
Ayo.
Do you see that? Because you know that thing of having, we have evidence. Then when it's time, you're going to go there thinking everything is evidence.
Hey, can't you are in possession of
And you're in position what you're not supposed to be in
information you
position of.
shouldn't have. That classifies you as a security risk.
So, yeah, abanye ngiyabona, they are running, going there. They think they're kushama tin lapan, umlabalaba. You know, when you have won a lot of games among your family members, you think that you are capable. Then you want to go outside and test with the crocodiles, and then you realize that you are nowhere near the perfection that you actually are required to be at. That's what's definitely going to happen. But asibuyele lapha case.
Hi, case mna. Oh, baloi or tshwere ka di washing. This is the scenario that they are describing. And it only dawned when Advocate MNISI towards the end, they were saying that Muzi has been there for 2 weeks now. And he's going on the 3rd week on that stand.
Yeah.
Because Advocate Baloi doesn't want to finish. He doesn't want to finish. 3 days. 3 days. He doesn't want to finish. And I don't see him finishing next week. He's going to stretch. He's going to stretch this. I don't know what he's going to do after the confession. But I have a hunch something is going to happen. That's going to take extra 2 days. So court resumed this morning with Advocate Baloi continuing the confession statement that is alleged to have been made by Sibia, and he started off by asking him, have you ever at any time in the past made a statement, whether orally or in writing, or any person concerning this incident? And the response that was written there was yes to the police who arrested me. Well, Sibia denied all of this. He said Mboto never asked him that question and he never responded with that answer. Well, Baloi then said, how will Mboto would have known that you have made the statement as testified to by Brigadier Kininda that you made a statement to him? Sibia said, I don't know Mboto gets all of that. There is no statement.
I was willing to study law. I'm actually faced with that predicament of choosing. I'm starting to doubt. What is the logic behind asking such a question?
I don't know.
How would have Mboto known about that? Okay, let us start from the beginning. You would ask that question if Mboto was only privy to SBI, meaning SBI knew about Mboto, is the only one who took them there.
Yes.
But now, no, it's the other way around. Gininda calls this man. So Gininda is the first point. And then you come and ask the question to someone who was taken to that person by the same person that you are trying to defend. And then you say, how would that person know?
Have known.
It just doesn't make sense. The level of thinking is for the life of me, I don't know, man. I mean, honestly speaking, how could you ask that question?
The patience you have to have listening to all of this. I know for sure I can't do it. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in being in court. I'm not interested in dealing with personalities like the honorable judges. I'm not interested in having to listen to somebody try to drag a cross-examination for the entire week. I don't have the patience for it. I don't.
Well, man, it just doesn't make sense. Some of the questions, you are expected as a person who did law to be at that position of thinking on your feet.
Yes.
And be able to be agile, move around when you have to move around, based on the answers also that you get beside the script that you have in your hand of the questions that you would like to pass through and trying to drive a certain narrative. But to ask such a question, from the word go, we are opening, we are fresh, and then you ask that question.
There's no build up, no nothing. It's coming out of nowhere. And on top of that, it's a silly question because how would you know? How is Sabia supposed to know what Mboto is supposed to have known? Like, I don't understand.
It just doesn't make sense, man. I don't know. I don't mean to be mean, but honestly speaking, it just... Yeah, but just continue.
Well, CBI said, I don't know where Mboto gets all of that. There's no statement that I made. Even Gininda, I never made the statement. I've never made any statement. So Baloy then said, if so, to whom and under what circumstances? That answer is normal circumstances, which is what there was written on the statement, is said to have allegedly been said by Sibia. Normal circumstances. Well, Sibia said Mboto never asked him that question and he never gave that answer to him, or the answer that he just stated there. And Baloy then said, why do you wish to repeat the statement? Answer, they told me not to talk in details. They will arrange somebody else to obtain a statement who is participating in this investigation. This is what Gininda testified in court. How would Colonel Mboto have known about this fact? And Sibia said, Mboto never asked me that question and I never gave that answer. If he said Gininda said that, then that means he heard all of that from Gininda and not me. So Baloy then said you'd recall that Brigadier Gininda testified about the best practice method. And Sibia said, I know nothing about that. Gininda is the one who knows about it. And Baloy then asked, where were you arrested? And it is written there, I was arrested at Tembisa while standing in the street. Sibia said Mboto never asked him that question and he never gave him a response in the form of that answer. He says, I was never arrested in the street. When I was arrested, I was inside a yard. So Baloy then said, but it was in Tembisa. And Sibia said, but inside the yard, I was never arrested in the streets. So Baloy then asked him, how would Lieutenant Colonel Mboto have known about this fact that you were arrested in Tembisa? And Sibia said, when I was arrested in Tembisa, I was arrested by the police. So it would have been easy for Mboto to know that. And the very same police officers who arrested me were there with Mboto. So Baloyi then said, when were you arrested? And the answer that was written there on the statement was 2020/05/30 during the day. I do not remember the time. Well, Sibia said that Mboto never asked him that question and he never gave him the answer. Even now, he's saying that he was arrested before 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And he says that he knew his time of arrest. So it doesn't make sense that Mboto wrote that he didn't know the time of the arrest, because he says he knows at what time he was apprehended. Now Baloyi then asked him, how could have Colonel Mboto known of the date of your arrest? And Sibia said, I was with the police officers who arrested me. Then Baloyi said, do you have any injuries? If so, how and where were they sustained? How many times is this question being asked? The injuries. It's been asked.
And once you are there, what is he going to do about it?
So many times. I'm tired of Advocate Baloyi. I wish I could tell him, sit down. Sit down. I'm exhausted. Well, then Sibia said that yes, both arms have marks due to handcuffs. They were very tight. Sibia said Mboto never asked him questions and he never gave him that answer. Well, Baloyi said, yes, but you say he saw the marks on your hands. And Sibia said Mboto is the one who saw that I was hurt, and it's not that I'm the one who told him. So Baloyi then said, observation to the Justice of Peace. This is where he was reading down the statement, what was written, and he said, I noticed marks on both hands, and I even loosened a little bit the handcuffs. This is what Mboto wrote on that statement, that he noticed the marks and even loosened the handcuffs a little bit. So this is what happens, is it or not? And Sibia said no. He asked one of the police officers to take the handcuffs off once he wanted me to sign. That is where he was shocked to the extent of my injuries. So Baloyi then said, so the handcuffs were loosened slightly as it is stated here, is it not so? Well, Sibia said no. He asked the officer to remove the cuffs so that I could sign. Once I signed, they put them back on. So Baloyi then said, but the point, Mr. Sibia, is that the handcuffs were loosened. Sibia said, I don't understand you well when you say loosened. I'm telling you that they were taken off from the back like this. He was demonstrating. Of course, we were denied the visuals. And he said, I signed. And after that I signed, they put them back on. So he's saying that they actually took the handcuffs off. And that is when Mboto was able to see that he was bleeding and he was hurt by the cuffs. And then he's like, yo, kantu limele kanjena. And then he made him sign. And then after signing, he instructed the police officer to take those cuffs back on. While Mboto on his...
On his version, he talked about the spot marks, eh?
Yes, he did talk that he noticed the marks and then he loosened the cuffs. He only just loosened them a bit because they were too tight. I wonder how he did that. Because Muzi was cuffed at the back. So Baloyi then asked, do you object to the presence of any person in the immediate vicinity of this office? Well, Sibia said no, as there was no other person present at the office except a suspect and the officer taking the statement. Sibia said, I was never asked that question by Mboto and I never gave that answer he's mentioning. Baloyi then said, so if so, against who and why? The answer that was written down was none. Sibia said Mboto never asked him that question and he never provided that answer that he's mentioning. And the problem is that he did have an objection as to how he was being assaulted there. He said that he was actually against the treatment that he was receiving at that moment. So he would have been vocal about it if indeed that statement came from him. So Baloyi then said, do you still wish to make a statement? And what was written, the answer was yes. And Sibiya said Mboto never asked him that question and he never gave him that answer that he stated. Well, Baloyi then said, as you are still prepared to make a statement, I'd like to know your source of information regarding the proposed statement you wish to make. The answer that was written is yes. I am prepared still to make the statement and I am the source. Sibiya said Mboto never asked him that question and he never gave him that response. Then Baloyi said, are you at this moment under the influence of any liquor or substance? This is him reading the statement. And Sibiya said, no, I am drinking, but I last drank liquor in March due to lockdown and I don't use illegal substances. Well, Sibiya rejected and denied all of this. He said Mboto never asked him that question and he never gave him that answer. Baloyi then continued to read, observation of the justice of the peace. The suspect looks sober. Well, Sibiya said Mboto does not know him well enough. He does not know how he is when he's well and how he is when he's not well. So those are his thoughts that he wrote there on that paper. Then Baloyi says, since it appears that the deponent is in his sound, sober senses, has not been unduly influenced thereto, understands his rights as prescribed by Section 35 of the Constitution, and freely and voluntarily wishes to make a statement, he is informed that he may now proceed. Sibiya said Mboto never asked him that question and he never gave that answer. And he said that he was not free. There is no one who can be free while they are being assaulted. As I said that I was assaulted at Tembisa, then at Vosloorus, and then again at Diepkloof. I also said that signing there with Mboto, I was doing it to protect my life. There is nothing that I did voluntarily. Baloyi now reverted to deal with a statement. MNISI stood at this point in time and said that when he led this witness in evidence in chief and wanted to embark on the same process, the judge said, but what is the need for that to happen? Because this witness says that this is not a statement, right? I'm not sure whether that is what the state intends to do now. There was a moment during the examination in chief of Advocate MNISI of Sibiya last week sometime, and just towards the end before he wrapped it up, he wanted to go through this confession with accused number one, and the judge said no, there's no need, because accused number one is saying that he did not write that statement. Who still remembers that?
Yes, I do.
So now today, Advocate Baloyi is allowed to do it. For what good reason, I don't know. But he's allowed to do it. While the legal representative of this witness was denied that privilege. That's the court. That's how that court works, right? Imagine if a state witness came to testify and Baloyi was blocked from going through their statement with that a witness or the statement that they are said to have made, so that they can deny it properly on the record. They are stopped, and then the defense decides, let's go through the statement, and then they are allowed. That would have never happened.
No.
So the judge then said, but what does it prove according to the state? What does the state say? Baloyi said that the accused says that he's not the source of the statement. The police are the source of the statement. It is therefore crucial for the state to go through the statement to demonstrate that it is in fact the source, that the information from the statement could have only been provided by him. And that is what the authorities say. MNISI said, before I reply, the state is saying the accused says, this information is from the police. He says, I don't know where the police got this information from. That is misleading. How does he say that the police are the source of the information? So that is misleading. It does not say that the police are the source of that information. You know, he says, I don't know where they got it from. That's what SBI is saying. He's saying doesn't know where they got whatever they wrote in that statement from.
Yeah.
And he said that he said this for the upteenth time, which is true. SBI has been saying this over and over and over, and he's yet to say it even more, right? But that is exactly the same argument that Mr. MNISI was saying, that he advances and that he wants to deal with the content of the statement because the accused says it does not come from him. Then the court said, Mr. MNISI, this is accused. The accused is saying that he does not know the statement. So why should you go through the statement with him? And he said, I think in my view, and I hold that view very dearly, that what the state intends to do now is just a repetitive of what I intended to do. And the judge said, okay, you can do it if you want to, it's fine. He's done. He wrapped up his examination in chief. How is he supposed to do it now? How is he supposed to do it now, judge? Because now the state is cross-examining. So MNISI then said, but it's now under cross-examination. How can I do it when the state is? And the judge says, in re-examination, you can do it. Okay? Because you are arguing at cross purposes. Because your client's version is that he never made a statement. The state says the source of your statement is your client, and the state wants to prove that. So he now has added extra shifts and work for the re-examination, something that could have been done, by the way, under cross-examination.
Yes.
Now it has to be postponed to re-examination as a response to what the state has just done.
Just to get the state's way.
So the judge said to Baloyi, S versus Gumete, if you want to prove the sources, as you say, you can do that. If you want to prove it, I can't tell you what to do. Well, MNISI said that because the law is very specific, my lord, when an accused person says this is not my statement, it's a question of credibility. You don't even go to the content of that statement. You simply argue about the credibility of what the witness is saying. Well, the judge said, okay, fine, you can argue that, no problem. Mr. Baloyi, what do you want to do? Baloyi said that the state intends to proceed with the proceeding of the confronted accused with the contents of the statement. On 2014, September and October, it was a Sabbath, which was a Saturday. He continued to read the confession. That's where we're going now. That's where we're going, family. The confession. He said, my friends Marco Buteles and Makimba entered the house. Marco Buteles and Makimba Buteles entered the house and demanded cell phones, and they shot the now deceased. Sibia said Marco is not his friend. Makimba is not his friend, and he's never witnessed the shooting of any person in front of him. He said, I know nothing about the things that happened there. Well, Baloyi said you'd recall that Brigadier Gininda testified that they did not know the names, that they heard them from you. Okay. So Sibia said, even now I still am maintaining that he's lying on me. I never mentioned these names. He's the one who mentioned these names. He's the one who mentioned the names when we were at Fosloras. Baloyi then said, we put it to you yesterday that at the point in Fosloras, you had not yet made the statement. So as Brigadier Gininda testified, they would have not known about these two names. Why does it feel like Advocate Baloyi is the spokesperson of Gininda? This is something that is an aspersion, but he's putting it like it's a fact, right? It's something that he thinks. He thinks that Brigadier Gininda would not have known about Butelezi brothers in Fosloras. It's not a fact, but he's putting it like it's a fact, which sometimes you wonder and you're like, yo, is this how people go to jail? Well, Sibia then said, I still repeat that Gininda is
You
the
know
one
what
who
is
arrived
fun
with these
about this
names at
thing?
Phosphorus.
You know what is fun about this thing? Sbeya is actually affirmed by accused number 5 of what he's saying.
I'm listening.
If you go back to when these people were in Boxback, where accused number 5 was talking about Lobaba Lo Ukininda, he came there as the Etu Zegla Bafana Bagabtelis.
Yes. Lo baba lo.
It was before, way before these people could have known about even the so-called confession.
Yes.
So,
Accused number 5 would not have known.
so,
It was still too early days.
so man, this story, it's merry-go-round. Like it's a mess, man. It's a mess. If you want to
He's
see the
also
truth, you
saying
can
when
see
they
the truth.
arrested him, they called him Butelezi.
Do you know? Do you know?
Well, Baloy then said, continued to read, I started hearing about these names from him, even that they are my friends. I first heard of it from him. Okay, this is Sibia. My apologies. He was responding to Advocate Baloy. Then Baloy then said, on that weekend that year, during the week, it was a Wednesday, I was at my place in the hostel at Fosloras at Basutu section, and I received a call from my friends, Marco and Makimba Butelezi. Both were staying at Fosloras, but Zulu section. Sibia said he doesn't know anything about what is written there, and he's never wrote that. He said, I don't have Makimba or Marco's numbers, and I have never had their numbers. They have never even called me on a single day, as I stated that they are not my friends. Well, Baloy then said the person who was calling me was Marco, but I heard on the background that he was with Makimba. Sibia said, I have never had this number, and he has never had mine. I told them that I am present. This is Baloy reading again. And he said he is coming with Makimba. A few minutes, they arrived by a polo, white in color, and was driven by Makimba, but the owner of the polo is Marco. Sibia said that I've never been called by Marco or Makimba, and I've never been with them in the same car traveling in a polo. I have never seen them driving a polo. I don't know anything about the polo you are talking about. Baloy then said, we know that Constable Zungu has testified about the white polo, and he mentioned that accused number 5 was the driver thereof. Okay, Ramasipil objected at this point, and he testified. He says that Zungu testified that it was a silver polo and not a white one.
Which is true.
It is true. And how many people are driving polos? This polo thing, it's like it's becoming a thing, and it has no substance.
It can be a thing, Emily, because you look at these people, they were supposed to get something such as what do you call it, from the company that they say this car was having. They failed because this thing does not exist.
Hey, Baloy then said, we'll just qualify that Constable Zungu testified about a polo and that the polo was driven by accused number 5. Mshololo also raised an objection and said the polo that was referred to in the evidence of Constable Zungu is grey, not white. So the question is misleading to the witness. Baloy said it's for argument. The judge asked if there was a polo according to Zungu. Baloy said he did mention that, and the judge asked if he mentioned the color. And Baloy said that he said it was a silver grey polo. This is after now inquiring with Sibanda and staff next to him. It was now a silver grey polo. And the judge said, yeah, fine, you can argue that. Mshololo said, I'm not going to argue. I'm objecting. He must not be allowed to put the wrong things on the record.
Maybe here is an interesting question. Maybe that's going to make this thing easier. Mr. Anonymous, please balance me here, sir. If these police cooked this confession, like I'm wondering why they took a difficult road of writing so many contradictions. 1, Saturday, 2, Makimba, Marco. My assumption, resilience, I would assume that you probably are thinking it's a mistake that can be made by someone who did this thing, or this person decides to lie.
Yes.
Here's the story when resilience. It starts here. The investigation starts with many investigators, including Warrant Officer Makubo, the likes of Joyce Buthelezi.
Yes.
Do you get me? So what happens is, as Begitele comes in, he appoints those two, Warrant Officer Makubo and Buthelezi.
Yes.
And then somewhere along the line, I think the case decided to get cold. I don't know why, but it did. And then Cassius Tole could have allocated it to the cold case team. And that's where the problem started.
Yes.
So these people were working in one case from the minister's position to commissioner's position. That's a story that we seem to have gotten. So along the way, some statements, the statement, for example, of Usbarga Senzo.
Yes.
What is his name?
Hlophe.
It disappears on the docket.
Taken out of the docket.
Yes. So now, as they are busy investigating, Bo Buthelezi and Makubo, they believe that people who should be answerable for this are people who are in the house. They've already done the investigation, their interviews and all that.
They were done.
So when this docket disappeared, that's how this docket got separated. Now we have 375 and then we have 636.
375 came as a result
of opening the case of defeating the ends of justice. Yes. So now you see these people are working parallel, but it's one problem. And then others then became powerful from my view. They are talking about big people. Paraman, your Periman, he's already been mentioned in ad hoc. Yes. So you can now see you are punching above your shoulders from the point of view of Bo Buthelezi and Makubo. To such an extent that I think Makubo had to face some cases.
There were a lot
and
of
be
cases.
answerable for those cases. Yes. So the battle then began there. So the story now, the cold case team, which was led by Kininda, then started getting these so-called accused. There is a theory that initially these people, they actually wanted to take this case and put it on the door of the Buthelezi brothers, Yo Makimba and Marco.
Yes.
Now, here is the problem. When that happened, the likes of Bo Warrant Officer Makubo had already have that information. So that information was already there. So what happens is, basically you can, in my opinion, cannot change everything.
Yes.
That is right, because now you have a duplicate of dockets and in a sense you don't get along. So there's this one that is holding it. In case you mess it further, they will come with the one that, but this is where we started.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So that story of Marco and Makim remained, unfortunately. It cannot be corrected, in my opinion. So then they realize that no man, Marco and Makimba at that time when Senzo was killed, they were already in jail.
Yes.
That's the story that is coming for. So
they arrest Muzi on the 30th of May 2020.
Yes.
And this is where they are saying he made this so-called confession.
Yes.
Then on the 16th of June, they arrest Ntanzi.
Yes.
And Ntanzi is saying, as they're arresting me, they're calling me Buthelezi.
Yes. So they were thinking, in a sense, these are Buthelezi brothers. Right. Okay. So it goes on like that. But upon the arrest of these two. Then they go to accused number 5, who was already arrested for other cases.
Yes, he
in
was
Kalagabusha, in Pangeng.
president, yeah.
And then when they came to him, they said they wanted the Buthelezi boys, who were also arrested in that site.
Yes. They had Kalagabusha.
So when they realized that, no man, these people were actually arrested, that's a story that we are getting. And obviously it is alleged, but I guess they're just putting alleged because it was told by accused number 5 also in Boxback.
Yes.
So they're like, no man, these people were already there. So now it's a question of who do we give it to? And then these ones, they happen to be coming from the same area, not the same area. And they miss that part also. If you look at it, that they actually are not coming from the same area and are not friends. So, but they took them because they come from Wanongoma. In their head, if you hear from the affidavits, even from Zungu statements that were shredded, it talks about Nongoma a lot. Forgetting that these two, they are coming from Mahlabathi, which is not Nongoma. So that's how the story of Marco remained there. Yeah. Some of the things, if you read and listen to it, you can tell that this is where you remember, if you've been following us, we even told you that in our opinion, this case was going to Mandisa's door.
Yes.
And somewhere, somehow it failed. And why do we say that? At some point, someone was talking about how Togozis, who's linked to Mandisa, who was a friend of Mandisa and Senzo, was busy with the phone before the incident happened. So in a sense, that was like kind of painting this person who was shady, kind of expecting people to come in and do something.
Yes.
That's how the story was going. And I don't know how and why. In our opinion, as we continue analyzing it, it came to the point of Mandisa not just being a pushover. Because if you read the story, the history of Mandisa's family, it also not just that family that you can just push over. They have financial means.
Yes.
So it stopped in our opinion. That's our opinion. That's my opinion. It stops there. Then it shifted. Somewhere, somehow, there could have been a fight or a resistance of some sort when it comes to Kelly incorporating and corroborating the story. Then it all changed. They said, maybe let's throw Kelly under the bus. Just give them this Kelly and then the rest. And by so doing, I don't think Mapopola could have known that it was hidden from the side of Mapopo. That's why the way he testified, Mapopo was just still testifying from the point of taking these people to jail. Yes.
Hopefully it will be at the end revealed that they are connected to Mandisa. You could tell that she has hope.
And Mapopola kept on referring to Mandisa. Why is Mandisa? And I mean, there were interviews even by Bokil. Why is Mandisa not being looked at? And even Mapopola was hard on that to say, why is Mandisa not being looked at? Why is Mandisa not being looked at? In a sense, as a bitter woman who decided to say, I'm not going to lose my fiance, we would rather lose this person completely. Or in a sense of, okay, I'm going to come and kill Kelly. Because there was that story of Senzo protecting Kelly, if you still remember.
Even Mapopola herself said that the target was her sister.
Exactly.
In the interview with ENC.
Exactly. So now do you see where all these things come? Along the way, things change. And there are other things that I can, in my opinion, say here. Because, yeah, but when you look at them, there is a correlation, in my opinion. But I hope you get why this docket is looking so dirty, in my opinion, looking so all over the place. You know, they I mean, when we are trying to fix something that is already going to a certain direction, going to north, now we are curving it to south or to west, for example. Obvious, it's not gonna have that cohesion. It is going to have hiccups. So now the story of maybe accused number 1 as a person who lied to them, that now it came about. because this Makimba and whatnot, when you hear Ginina testifying now, he's saying, we realized upon investigating that actually these guys were already in jail at that time. Now, those are things that are happening. I mean, do you get me? Now, I hope you are in line. But basically, if you are confused further, look back to the videos where we explain from the word go.
Yeah, we have explained. We have explained. But the issue of the Buthelezi brothers has always been there. It's not something that is popping up this year. And it has been developing quite an interesting pattern of also learning that these Buthelezi brothers were actually incarcerated at the time. 2014 October in particular, they were already inside, so maybe that's why the project got abandoned, and now the confession of Ntanzi became interestingly different,
being the main one. And if you also heard the story of, was it Titi Toban who represented them?
Yes,
there was this thing that he said they actually requested that please give us dance.
I had actually forgotten.
It is alleged that they were asking for dance. So the story of dance is the one now that puts them all, because it's written now according to
and there's
the
two
events,
confessions of Ntanzi. The one that places all of them is the one that was done by Magistrate Grunier,
which comes as a rectification of the first one.
Yes.
And in the first one, you would realize that there were things that were not aligning and they were missing there.
It has been very interesting. So also Ntanzi was linked somehow to the Buthelezi brothers by a case that was said to be confidential, and then Gomezulu just got only the extract,
And then the court was
jumpy. They were saying that
and then
it's confidential,
talking about intelligence.
when it's just a case from KZN that I believe that any lawyer could have access to, but they treated it like it was some kind of crime intelligence, top secret stuff.
Yes.
But that case was the case of the Buthelezi brothers, and Mgomezulu was merely pointing it out that Ntanzi is not standing as an accused in that case. It is the Buthelezi brothers was definitely there, but Ntanzi was not in that case. And then Brigadier Kinida said it's still being investigated. By who? By the cold case unit.
And I'm sure even today it's still being investigated.
And then there was some kind of thing where they said that one of the papers there, Mohani was testifying, and then there was a shenanigan that happened in the court. They said that the paper was of the confidential report was found with the accused. Who still remembers that? Hey, we've been through a lot. The things that have happened. But yes, every time the Buthelezi brothers are brought up, it's always been very interesting. And also, how can we forget about Ntanzi allegedly being offered 3 million? Now that we're speaking with advocate, TT, saying that he was being offered, they're saying, give us Ntanzi. Well, Ntanzi, there are allegations that he was offered 3 million or something like that, to say that, to implicate all of the accused, to say that yes, we did do the crime, whatever, and that perhaps would be explanation as to why Mjiako was there while the confession was being taken. But they said that those kind of things don't make it to court, especially now that Ntanzi is saying he apparently backtracked allegedly. They don't make it to court. The discussions of making a deal with the state. Yes, that's why they're not discussed in court. And that's that.
Basically, that's the history, the background of...
That's the background.
Why they contradicted.
So Mshololo then said, I'm not going to argue. I'm objecting. He must not be allowed to put the wrong things on the record. The judge said that she can't... the judge said that he can't object to someone, or rather Mshololo can't object to someone who's leading evidence. Ngiyaqala ukuyiva ke lena. I was very perplexed. What does he mean that Mshololo can't object to someone leading evidence, Mr. Anonymous? What is going on? So, as
You
Baloyi,
cannot object to someone leading evidence.
yes, that's what he said when Mshololo raised an objection regarding this polo, and he said we'll leave it for argument, and then Mshololo says we can't leave it for argument. Okay, I'm not going to argue. I'm objecting that he must not be allowed to put the wrong things on the record, because he was about to say that Zungu said that the polo was white. So the judge said that she can't object to someone leading evidence. Okay. So apparently it's a rule. I don't know, because now it's like when someone is leading evidence, they can literally get away with putting whatever they want because they can't be disturbed. What do you mean? So I mustn't say objection if somebody's putting something that is not true. That's the part that really frustrates me. So I don't know whether even it's the state leading the evidence, because I've seen on more than one occasion where the defense, when they're leading a witness, you'll find that Advocate Baloyi stands up and objects and stuff like that, or there's an objection coming from the state side. So I wasn't aware that this thing actually is a thing. But then Mshololo said that he's misleading the witness, and the judge said, are you misleading the witness to Baloyi? Then Mshololo said yes. Baloyi said that he'll rephrase the question. And then he said Constable Zungu testified about a polo, let alone the color, driven by accused number 5 on the 26th of October 2014. Well, Sibia said, I have spoken a lot about the issue of the 26th of October 2014. And on the 26th of October 2014, I was never at Basutung Hostel. I was never with Zungu. I was not with any of the accused persons that are seated at the back at the 26th of October 2014. And Baloyi said, this we see in the proceedings of the 8th of September 2023 with Zungu Ngadeni. While he later on changed it to Ngani. I don't know why he was reading Ngadeni. And I was like, is this a new name? What is going on? Is this new evidence? I don't know why he was reading Ngadeni. Maybe he couldn't see properly, but Ngadeni and Ngani are two different.
Emily, that's not true. You can actually object.
You can. Then why is the judge saying that? Why is he saying that they can't object when the state is leading evidence? Kwenzakalani? What is going on? Kwenzakalani kuleya court leya bafethu ngicela what's going on? Like I was perplexed. I was like, so they must just let him continue saying the polo is white, the polo is red, the polo is green, the polo is... No objection, nothing. They must just sit and relax and fold their arms and wait for him to finish with their witness. By the way, he's their witness. He's not the witness of the state. So what must happen? Whatever happened to... No, let him finish.
That was gone out of the window, man.
No, man, you can't do that to the witness. Right now, Muzia has been on that stand being asked questions. The same question over and over and over. He's not saying anything, right? He's not saying anything. But had it been a Tumelo, he would have said, but you've asked that question before. Mr. MNISI, you've asked that question before. Now it's not happening. Moses having to repeat one thing. He's repeating one question. He's being asked 1,000 times. And he's soldiering on there. It's not an issue. Well, Sibia said that he does not know this Ngadeni that he's mentioning, and he was never at Basutung Hostel on the 26th of October 2014. And in his evidence, Zungu said it's Ngani, accused number 5. Well, Advocate Baloyi was correcting himself there. Well, Sibia said, I still maintain that I was never at the hostel on the 26th of October 2014. I was never with any of the co-accused on the 26th of October 2014. I was never with Zungu. I was never at the hostel on the 26th of October 2014. And Sibia said he knows nothing about everything that is said by Zungu there. Well, Baloyi said both they are from KwaNongoma in KwaZulu-Natal. I just entered the car and sat at the back seat. Marco said to me that there is a job that we needed to do. I asked him what the job was, and Marco said they were hired by Kelly to kill Senzo. And I asked the suspect which Kelly and which Senzo, and the suspect said Kelly Kumalo and Senzo Meyiwa. They are people that we are talking about. Sibia said that there has never been a time where I met with Marco and Makimba traveling in a polo.
You know what's a giveaway about that? That statement.
What?
It talks about suspects.
Yes.
Sibia wouldn't have said suspect.
Suspect, no. No, he would not have
Now
said
that if you read it, I mean, honestly, it talks about suspects now.
He would never describe people who committed a crime with
A suspect.
KaZulu King. Umsolwa. Umsolwa ngangena emotweni yakamsolwa. Kireko is confessing. He's confessing. Oh my God. I can't believe this thing is dragging for so long. Yes, this thing is dragging. It's dragging. Suspect. I got into the car. The suspect. Hi. Well, where was I? He said, I don't know nothing about Kaylee. This is Bia responding to the allegations that were put there in the statement that they are saying he said. Baloyi said, or continued to read from the confession. He said, I asked them if they already charged the money, and they said yes, they charged 100,000 rands. Both Marco and Makimba charged for the killing. Sibia said he never spoke to Makimba nor Marco. He knows nothing about the death. He said that there was nothing that he got from the death of Senzo. He did not get anything. He knows nothing about the death of Senzo. Even in the later years, he says he still didn't know anything about Senzo's death. And he always maintained that he doesn't know how Senzo died. Well, Baloyi said Marco is the one who was having dreadlocks, and Makimba was wearing the cap red in color, and I was wearing a white cap. Sibia said he knew nothing about that. Gininda arrived there and told him that Marco had dreadlocks when they were at Phosphorus. And he said that he knew nothing about what is contained in there. Well, Baloyi referred Sibia to photos of accused number 3 having dreadlocks. This is the point where MNISI objected and said the state is talking about the content of what they allege should have been made by this witness. There is nowhere where it is referred that where accused number 3 is being referred to in the statement, which is true. There was a time Zungu's statement contained Marco. Who still remembers that?
Yes,
the names Marco.
I do remember.
Now it's kind of putting the puzzles together of what exactly was going on. So for people who are saying that, okay, Sibia knows Marco and all these people, then what was the Marco name doing in that Zungu statement? And Zungu was saying he also didn't depose his statement himself. He didn't write it down himself. Maybe depose is the wrong term. He didn't write it himself. There was a lady typing in Brigadier's office that was typing.
Suspiciously, that lady could be Mamfundis.
So, allegedly. and also the original, he said he had his own notes that this lady who was typing was referencing from. And then he said the notes were in KZN. there was a whole adjournment for him to go get these original notes that he was referencing from, and he came back and said they got shredded in Brigadier Kininda's office.
From KZN to Brigadier's office being shredded. Let's press the like button before we shred you.
And that statement with mistakes had Marco in it. I will never forget. And I was like, who's Marco? Zungu. And they kept insinuating, or Zungu kept pointing to accused number 3 as Marco. That's why there was a need for him to go get those notes, because he kept making those smallanyana mistakes.
Yes. Just a reminder.
So now we are here. Marco is in accused number 1's confession and has dreadlocks.
Siphuma kude.
So isn't it that they leading the statement about the truthfulness of the statement that they allege was made by him? So where is in the statement does it mention accused number 3? Well, Baloy said that a statement is not a vacuum. You compare it with other objective facts. You camper it with established facts. Accused number 3 admitted in the photos that it's him on those photos, and he does not have dreadlocks. And he does have dreadlocks, my apologies. And he said, and we are saying that we have seen the evidence that accused number 3 appears in photos of Exhibit S and he's wearing dreadlocks. That is all. Well, what does it have to do with the confession of accused number 1? Because as far as is concerned, there is no mention of accused number 3 in accused number 1's confession or alleged confession. So why are we now comparing Marco, who has dreadlocks, with accused number 3, who once upon a time had dreadlocks?
That's what I wanted to say. It's crazy. Like this, the theory just...
We're not talking about one person.
It's bizarre.
It is bizarre. It would make sense if the confession of Sibia said, I saw a person with dreadlocks, or it was accused number 3 with dreadlocks. Then yeah, you can pull up the pictures and say, is that the same person that you were talking about? Now we're talking about 2 different people here, and you are presenting them as if you're talking about one person, and that doesn't make sense. We are all getting confused. I'm getting confused. What is going on? That's why I want him to sit down. I'm tired. This is exhausting. Well, MNISI, that's not correct. The purpose why the state is going through the statement is to verify, is to indicate that the information that is contained in the statement is information that comes from this witness. And the statement of this witness does not speak about accused number 3. It speaks about Marco and Makimba Buthelezi. So what objective facts are they speaking about? Because accused number 3's photos are a standalone, totally divorced from what is contained in the statement. And the state say, I must say, it's busy planting a seed in the mind of the court, and that is not allowed. The judge said, which seed are they planting? MNISI said they definitely know what seed they are planting, whether it's an apple or a peach or a banana seed, they know. Then Baloy said Advocate MNISI will be well advised to read what the law says. It says when a confession is made, there must be evidence aluende to support what is in the confession and what is precisely what they're trying to do. This aluende is going to get very abused throughout the proceedings of the...
Yes.
Mr. Lolo, please Google that aluende for me. This aluende became a subject of today's proceedings, okay? So he says that when a confession is made, there must be evidence aluende to support. Nyayizwa Marlento Gutitin. When a confession is made, there must be evidence aluende. So, he may sound like he's doing something, but this also speaks to the quality of this confession itself. Because the way he's trying to make it look like the state has this evidence to support this confession. And he's trying to use pictures of accused number 3, who is not Marco Buthelezi, to produce this Aluwende evidence. Which is something that, if you look at this phrase, what it actually means is that when a person comes to confess, there must be evidence that supports their confession. If I'm going to say I killed somebody and I buried them somewhere, you need to have found the body where I said, right? Where I said it is buried. Do you understand what I'm saying? That is a confession.
Aluwende, admissible evidence. Well, there must be admissible evidence. Evidence Aluwende is admissible.
Admissible. Can you point maybe admissible evidence concerning this confession thus far that perhaps makes sense, or can the state work with?
There's nothing.
So what is he talking about? They need to now abuse this on Monday and pay close attention. They need to go read up on this Aluwende thing and understand it and come and apply it properly. Because I don't think that's what's happening here, in my opinion. Respectfully. So I was like, yo, guys, this is going to be a long week. MNISI asked for a copy of that authority. And Baloyi said that they're leaving this for argument as well. And it's not for them to teach anyone. Throwing jabs there. To say that he's just going to mention Aluwende evidence because he knows. He's just going to throw in this Aluwende evidence. And because he knows that this confession is not really supported by not much evidence, right? He's just going to say, it's not our duty to teach anybody about any authority. Look, well, the judge said you are saying that you are permitted to lead evidence Aluwende. And Mr. MNISI, if Mr. Baloyi is misleading the court and your colleagues, you can argue that there's no legal principle like that which allows him to have reference to content of a statement or a confession, okay? And MNISI said, I'm noticing, my lord, I'm noticing. The judge said that he's saying the law allows him. Look at that.
He is saying,
if it was the defense, he would have asked for that clerk to go fetch a book so that he can read it. Why is he not doing the same here?
no, he's not going to do that.
Because he would have said, after the adjournment, he would have looked for this thing. Or said Baloyi to give it to him so that he can read it to the defense. But that is not happening this time around. There are no books. Yay! So MNISI said that each time there's an objection from the defense, then the defense is told that they can argue that each time the state wants to do something, then the state gets away or gets its way around to do whatever they want to do. At no point was the state ever told that they can argue that, which is true. Every time the state objects something, they are not told you will argue that at a later stage. It's only the defense that are told that. And he said, I'm also noting that as well, my lord. This moment, it reignited my memory to go back to when Mgomezulu said that he's making a special application because of these kind of shenanigans. And the judge took offense. He was highly offended. And he made it seem like Mgomezulu had disrespected him to the highest level. But let me tell you.
Did MNISI say that?
No, this is me. This is my opinion.
Yeah, because he was gonna be offended again.
He was going to be offended again. But I'm thinking to myself, ukuthi kanti, why ungaskhuzi? Why can't you call yourself to order? Because this thing will keep happening. And it's like you don't care at this point. You've reached a point where you don't care. Well, Mshololo also said that the state is misleading the court. A reference has also been made of the appearance of the 8th of September 2023 on page 24, wherein the state referred to the polo. And they said it was driven by accused number 5. And there's no reference on page 24 of the transcript. Well, he did say that it was on page 24, Advocate Baloyi. Well, the judge said to Mr. Baloyi, to him, that they are saying you are cooking evidence. Baloyi was now asking what Mshololo was actually referring to, and he threw in a bit of shade and said it's always important to listen before making an objection, implying that Mshololo doesn't listen before making an objection. But then he did give an incorrect page number. He did give the page number is 24, but he's making it look like Mshololo is the crazy one and did not hear properly. Okay, and then he went back and said it's actually page 43 and 44, and he went to read the pages and read the what he had, the record or part of the record that he had used to describe the silver grey polo. Well, Mshololo admitted that she made a mistake. She wrote 24, and I feel like you did not make a mistake, because I also listened attentively. She didn't. She shouldn't have said that. You did not make any mistake. It was him who gave the page number 24 instead of 44. Well, MNISI then said, while on the question of the objective evidence, the state is saying to this witness, did you see on Exhibit S that accused number 3 has got dreadlocks? That's a fact, but it does not end there. The state must also put to this witness how those dreadlocks look in Exhibit S. The dreadlocks in Exhibit S, they take a particular pattern. The state has a duty to place all that is in court holistically. It must not pick and choose. The photo should be exhibited there. The state should tell the witness that these are the dreadlocks and they look like this, for they come in different shapes, patterns, and sizes. Now, Mr. MNISI here found himself defending 2 of his clients at the same time, yabo. He found himself in that position where now he has to enter the arena for accused number 3, because they were trying to now implicate him in the confession of accused number 1. So, but those in Exhibit S take a particular shape and pattern, speaking of the dreadlocks. And Baloyi said that these are the matters for argument. Baloyi eventually showed the photos, projected them in the court, and Sibia said that he does not know accused number 3 from a photo. The first time he ever saw him was at Boxback, and he said that he's never seen Rastas and how they look. But if you asked if it was accused number 3, he would say that it's him, even though he knows him without dreadlocks. Baloyi said that Advocate MNISI asked him about the requirements that a confession should be supported by evidence aluende in his regard, and he can consult the criminal procedure. MNISI said that they had passed that stage and they are now on the dreadlocks. The judge said it's time to adjourn. No, Judge Wamudimu is feeling
Aluende.
He's feeling aluende. He just wanted to get out of there and get a break. It's time. It's time to adjourn. So after that short adjournment, Baloyi said that he'd continue with the affidavit, while the judge asked if he cannot continue with reading that authority that speaks about aluende. Well, Baloyi read it. Okay, this apparently is from a book by Duduot of Evidence Aluende. Then he went back to the confession, started reading the confession again to Mr. Sbia. He started where the part where it says Marco was the one wearing dreadlocks and Makimbi was wearing a cap, red in color, and I was wearing a white cap. Sbia said that he knew nothing about what was written there. Those caps we were wearing on Saturdays, by Loy reading now. And one with the dreadlocks was wearing a wool hat. Okay. So here it says the one with the dreadlocks had on a wool hat. The accused reminded me of that, in order not to mix the days. Sibia said, as I said, I know nothing about this. Gininda is the one who knows about all of this. Then Baloy continued to read. Sometimes we drove to the traditional healer. Sometime we drove to the traditional healer Mkulu, as we used to call him, and he's from Swaziland. Sibia said he knew nothing about that. Gininda is the one who knows. And Baloy said, this is the traditional healer we used to go to before we commit any crime. He's from Swaziland. Mr. Nalbazai laughing.
It's the same man that came in there.
Yes, Bob Lion.
Who just was as confused as everyone.
Yes.
The only thing he confirmed is that there were a lot of police, same as what Moses says.
Yes, that one. He's from Swaziland. And Sbia said, I know nothing about that. They called him a witch dog. Do you guys remember?
Gininda called him a witch dog.
We're calling him a witch. Gininda is the one who'd know about that, is what Sbia said. But I continue to read. The Inyanga stays at Katlehong at Palm Ridge, and we entered there, 3 of us. Sibia said, I know nothing about all of that. Gininda would have knowledge of this. Baloy continued to read. Marco is the one who explained to the traditional healer Mkulu that we want to check if we are going to succeed in doing this job. Sibia said, I still maintain that I know nothing about this. Baloy then said he further mentioned to Mkulu that we are going to kill Senzo Meyiwa, and we were brought or hired by Kelly Kumalo, who was the girlfriend to Senzo Meyiwa. And Sibia said he still maintains that he knows nothing about that. Gininda is the one who knows about that, together with Mboto. A traditional healer by the name of Mr. Lionel Robert Zwani testified in the proceedings, and we find his evidence on the 4th of September 2023. Baloy said that they will revert back to this evidence at a later stage. Sibia said he knew nothing about him. Marco told us that Kelly wants money from Senzo, but never told Mkulu that. Mkulu checked for us and said that we are going to succeed to kill the said person. He also gave us protection medicine to put on our arms or at our waist.
Mkulu has binoculars to see the future.
Which was going to make us succeed in killing him and to protect us from any danger.
I'm sure he didn't see them being brought into court at some point.
We paid
Definitely.
Mkulu 50 rand for checking our job. 50 rand. Sibia said, I know nothing about
Imagine
that.
paying someone 50 rand to protect
kill a
you
person.
from killing a person.
50 rand. I've heard of other traditional healers charging a consultation, just a consultation. We're not talking about, this is the beginning of, just to say hello to them, 1,500. Mkulu charge 50 rand for a whole matter.
But those ones, I always have maintained that normally, when they tell you are going to succeed, normally you are going to fail.
Well, Baloy said when we finished the job, we decided that we must pay him 5,000 rands. They decided that they must pay him 5,000 rands.
Ngomo yakhe.
And we left the hostel. Manje, uhlale hostel, ubabline. Uhlale hostel.
No.
They're saying here they left the hostel.
Didn't
and
they
left
say
me there.
it's from Zonkizizwe?
They said so, but now they're leaving the hostel now to their place of residence. He says we decided we must pay him 5,000, and we left to the hostel. My apologies, and they left me there to their place of residence. Sibia said that he knew nothing about that. It's Gininda and Boto who knew about this. Baloyi continued, I sat at my place and never spoke till Saturday, Sabata, where I received a call from Marco, where he told me that we are going afternoon to the work, which we were planning to. Sibia said he knew nothing about this. Gininda and Boto are the ones who know. Now, Baloyi said, or continued to read, they never told me the time, but they arrived at about 6 o'clock and they took me by the very same polo. Sibia said he knew nothing about this. It's Gininda and Boto who know. Baloyi then continued to read, I was sitting at the back seat. Makimba was driving the vehicle, drove to the address for Sloras, and the vehicle parked by the corner as Makimba was driving. As we were driving to the place, Marco received the call, and I heard Marco answering the call and said, we are on the way coming. Sisendleleni. Now, Sibia said, even now.
That's the same story as in Danza, basically.
Even now, I'm still
Except the
saying.
characters have changed.
It's different characters here. I know nothing about all of this. It's Gininda and Boto that know about all of this. Then Baloyi said Boto was not part of the investigation. How would he have known about all of this? Sibia said Boto was called by Gininda and they met wherever they met up, and they came back to me at the courtyard and they came back together. So Baloyi then said after dropping the call, he told us that Kelly's calling and want to know if we are coming. Then we alighted at the corner. We walked on foot to the house, and the driver was with Marco and asked who was going to enter the house. We discussed that.
Wait there. The driver was with who?
Marco.
The driver. Isn't it said Marco was the one driving?
He said so. Marco was the one driving initially, and
As
then
he was
Marco had
sitting at the back.
dreadlocks. And Marco had dreadlocks, remember?
As he was sitting at the back, he was driving.
Yes.
And then Marco now was with the driver.
Now Marco and the driver.
So there were 4.
Marco and the driver now. And they were asked who was going to enter the house. We discussed that we would make it as if we were committing robbery. And the firearm was the one, and it was in Marco's possession. So Sibia said, I know nothing about that. People who know are Gininda and Boto. Gininda did say in court that he's the one who contacted Boto. Then Baloyi read, Marco asked who was going to get in. No, me, not me. I'm going to stand outside and watch if there's somebody who came in and disturbed us. I must quickly report. Even now, we are saying, everything that's written there, Gininda and Boto would be the ones who have knowledge of it. Marco and Makimba got into the house, and Marco was the only one who was in possession of the firearm. Sibia said he knew nothing about it. Gininda and Boto are the ones who'd know about this. Baloyi continued to read. They entered and closed the door and demanded cell phones. According to them, they said they found 3 people in the house. That was Meyiwa and 2 girls in the dining room. One of those 2 girls was Kelly. They said Meyiwa refused with the cell phone, and he stood, and they groped each other with Marco.
Now, do you see this story removed everyone else? They removed Bolongwe, Tumi, Togozis.
Yes.
So this was a perfect one. Didn't need a lot of people to come.
Our seasoned, experienced, highly esteemed investigator said this is the one who studied the docket. He said, I studied the docket. If you studied the docket, you'd know there were 7 people in the house. Now this person is confessing, and they're telling you about 4 people in the house. And you still continue. Hi, the court register went to the judge at this point and was saying something to him. There was a little caucus there happening. And turns out Mr. Jonas said that it's pertaining to a child who is not well. I'm assuming it's his child. And he said he was vomiting and stuff. So they had to go to the mother who's at UNISA. And they asked if they could come back after lunch or adjourn. And Mshololo was there screaming at the top of her lungs, "No, we must adjourn, my lord."
No offense, but this story, it sounds like a perfect university story. A perfect university excuse for not writing an exam.
What do you mean now?
I
The child is
don't
sick.
mean to sound insensitive, but it just does sound like that to me. I mean, I'm not saying that is the case.
From
This is what I've had. We've had. I don't want to give out things next time. Next thing I'm arrested.
This is said also that he's taking into account that the witness has been standing in the witness box for 2 weeks and is under cross-examination, and he had been under cross-examination for the whole week, and he thought that he needed to go and calm down. He'll come fresh on Monday, and they shouldn't hurry. There's no rush here. He said they'll be back on Monday, and the state will continue with what it is doing. It's not like today is going, the case is going to be finalized today. Yeah, at this rate that we're going, it's like a tortoise.
Chameleon.
A tortoise. It's a tortoise pace. Sihamba kancane. Kodwa sofika. Azophela ama-question.
Right. Can I just quickly take some calls? Where's the phone? Let's see if you guys have anything to say
There it is.
before we depart. It's
12
o'clock.
We're going to wrap it up. I have blabbed enough. Hopefully you guys have a better picture of the proceedings and what was happening in court. Yes, it was just 2 hours, but it left a lot to talk about. So, Mr. Anonymous, right? If Gininda is saying that Sibia lied on this confession, does it also not reinforce that the confession was forced?
If Gininda,
is saying that Sibia lied, or they've later found out that Sibia lied on this confession, right?
let me take this call.
Helena is saying that we are live.
Oh,
Please
that's me.
fix it.
That's my
Please
voice.
Fix the voice at the back, please. Zanzi, hello.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm very sorry. I'm trying to improve all the time.
Okay.
The latter part,
Well, listening.
by the way, all the time, I must
Yes.
say the following. I don't know where you guys get this energy, and wherever it comes from, nature does do it.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ngikhohlwa nokulalela ezinye izinto that might disturb everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long time. I've been following the case that Senzo Meyiwa as well.
Yeah.
It is way too questionable. It has got way too many loopholes. I would have liked to share any model that I saw from a bed that does something that is interesting, but I'm not going to do it now because I'm going to clear abanye abantu's cards.
Okay.
Where it becomes interesting for me, Ubaloyi is speaking so confidently about whoever it is. Right now, I don't care. And I'm sorry that philosophically I might be ignoring potential important points.
Okay.
That abantu bapaka imoto, they planning right now ukuthi ubani ozophuma, and this is always ngathi sokwenza irobbery. If your plan ukuthi uya kuleyo ndawo leyo ukuthi uyobulala umuntu, that's your ultimatum. Can you haphazardly plan it that way? He reads it out loud in the so-called the parentheses, as he refers to them as. In other words, we mentioned we are nje bethu yabo ukuthi ubani ozongena sokwenza ngathi sokwenza irobbery. Ucansi uyazi yini ukuthi kuzokwenzakalani uma usungenile? Ayikho leyo nto leyo bethu. Mabe ungenele endlini ukuthi uyokwenza imeda, uyobulala, it must be pre-planned.
Yeah.
Akusikho discuss manje khoneni ukuthi ngipaka imoto ukuthi ubani ongenayo awuthame isikipani bethu. It doesn't exist. It will never happen. We'll remember ukuthi ubhuti Gamufi also mentioned that ukuthi ababulali mabe bengena, that i-purpose one. Mabe bazobulala umxolisi, mina umxolisi yimi igama lami. Bazobulala umxolisi ozozama ukumsiza, uzoshaya yonke into la indlela, uzoshiya ku-clean. There's no way that we plan usula ikhonini. The so-called well-seasoned and maybe another description, Vaseline prosecutor, he's reading it out loud. Bese sithi siphethe labo bantu. Bafethu ngicela niqhubeke ngalo msebenzi ube strong. I've given up. Ayikho lento. Ngicela niqhubeke nesipaneni sithunayo bafethu ngiyaninqanya.
Siyabonga mfethu.
Siyabonga.
Sharp.
Yay. Siyoqhubeka. I also don't know what's pushing us, Mr. Anonymous.
We start, we finish. Sayqala sayiqeda. Right. Maybe that's the slogan. We start, we finish.
We finish, ne? Sayqala
sayiqeda. Right. The lines are still open. But just hello to Simpiwe Berry. Petros Ndlapho, Lufate or moderator. Dondera Muswapo. Donderai Mutswapo. Thanks, sorry, man. Thank you.
SABC had our cries. They removed that watermark.
Winston, okay, let me answer the call. Mzansi, hello. Hello, Mzazi. Icon. Connection. Show connection. I see you. Mzansi, hello.
Mzansi, really, hello.
Hi, how are you, sir?
How are you guys?
We're good, man. We're good. Singezwa kuwe.
Yeah. We are trying.
Yeah, just excuse me a bit. Ahmed is going to continue with this. I just need a break again. But you continue submitting.
Okay. I'm listening. I am right here. Let's go.
Okay. How are you, Sister Emily?
I'm well, and you?
Thanks, man. Yeah, you're speaking to Bongs from Cape Town.
Hi, Bongs. Welcome back. Long time.
Yeah. This case is taking its toll on us now.
We are tired.
That's one thing I've just realized. We are emotionally target inside.
No, we are exhausted.
No. Ayikho malento kudlalwa ngabantwana babantu kanje. You see, when I realized that I'm emotionally in this case was when the passing of Mr. Mgomezo. And today, after all that mess that was happening there, I contacted my cousin. I told him my cousin is a practicing lawyer, advocate.
Yes.
First thing he said when he answered my call, like, for seconds again, imagine, he knows. When I contact him, he knows I will ask something. I contacted him. I wanted to ask about why President Nwendo now. He said, no, man, these guys, they are misusing that thing. He said, if the content of the confession was mentioning I choose number 3,
Yes.
that thing applies. So you can go to the content and balance with what you have in court. Now you are quoting the content of the confession. You say you are applying evidence Alwendo. But you don't have Makimbi in court or Marco. How is that now evidence Alwendo? Because confession can't implicate someone. But
Exactly.
evidence Alwendo, you can use it. If Makimbi was present, that's what he told me. He also, he's big frustrated. He said, also the defense lawyers, he don't want to sound otherwise, but they must also research, because even the case they were quoting there, he said that case was reversed at the Supreme Court of Appeal.
My goodness.
They are he said, you see, that's what I say, we are emotional in ML. I called him, I said, these guys, they say there is a case law or whatever. He said that case was, he said the case they were quoting was reversed in Supreme Court of Appeal because of the same thing he's talking about. You can use evidence Alwendo. Let's say what they were doing was right only if Makimbi or Marco was on the dock. Now is the question he have. He said, how do you say this is evidence Alwendo, but Makimbi or Marco is not there? Because the contents of the confession of I choose number 1 is not mentioning Mnobe. So how that thing become evidence Alwendo? He said, yeah, I understand your emotional attachment with this case, but also these guys, they must do the research about these cases. It's not like they're doing some different laws. Yeah, someone from civil law or anything you can understand, because there's always new cases. You must research. Okay, there is a sentence happening last week.
Yes.
You are doing criminal law. You must know that case.
You must know.
Now you are in criminal law. You must be aware there is such case. That's the frustration about him. He said if some of these guys were from civil law or other law, maybe he could have understand. Now they are late. They missed that part. But now they are in criminal law. They have to be up to date. He said, those guys, High Court, they can trick you if you are not up to date. You must read the case laws. All the cases. You must know that last week there was this judgment about such case. You must always catch up, try to catch up. He said, when you are practicing law, if you are late to such things, because he said, the case they were quoting, that case was reversed at Supreme Court of Appeal because of the same thing that they were doing today. That's what the guy told me. He said, no, the guys, they are doing well so far. Because he's happy about that. They are putting everything on record. Yes. Even the behavior of the judge.
Yes.
They are putting everything on record. Now, for them, they are not looking at this thing, but they are preparing for their appeal, but they must also be up to date about
With
such
the laws,
matters.
the case
Because,
laws.
yes, the case law. He said they must be always up to date because what Baloyi and the judge was quoting is right only if Makindi or Marco is on the dock. Now you are quoting the content of the confession from accused number 1. You say it's evidence, Aluendo, but Makimbi and the other guy is not on the dock. How does that thing become evident? What? It can't be. If you say you're quoting this content of this confession and it's evidence, that and that, nobody must be mentioned there. Then it can apply as evidence, Aluendo. Nobody. That's what was said to Supreme Court when that case was reversed.
Wow.
He said so far he's
So
happy,
now-
but these guys must read cases. He said he's happy about their behavior now. They're starting to fight, but they must read cases. Because the case that they were quoting there, that case was reversed because of the same thing they were doing.
So now
I need
it's
prayers.
like,
Please, we need counseling.
hey, we do. Now it's
I
like
was defeated,
Baloyi
very
is trying
defeated.
to make accused number 3
He's replacing.
Makimba. Yeah, he's replacing one.
Yeah, replacing one of Makim and Marco with accused number 3. According to the law,
Yo.
what they were doing, they are
Did
replacing
it.
Marco or Makimbi with accused number 3. You said everything they were doing is right only if the mentioned person is on the dock. But if the mentioned person on the confession is not on the dock, what they were doing is totally wrong. I was defeated. I was like, no, Rata, I can't deal.
He's just sitting there.
First thing he said, man, when I call him, he said, "Bafu, when's the
He's
guy
even the one who
Imagine,
recommended the S versus Gumede.
imagine, hey, lama kendlela, ay. Siyaphela man kule country labomkhulu. Abahambe labantu bodlala nabazukulwana man. Hayi ngeke. Thanks a lot, guys. Keep pushing, man.
Thank you for
I
calling.
appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Criminal law.
All right, criminal law. All right, eye opener. Thank you, caller. Right, asizwe abanye ukuthi bathini. Asizwe abanye. Siyabonga kakhulu. Makhona omunye osathi yena usele ngephutha abafowethu shayani phela. Okay, or sivele sivale ngoba phela nokukhathala nakho khathalekile sisebenza. Hey, madoda. Please press the like button and value the likings. The likes are not liking. Please press the like button. Please press the like button. Let us push these likes to at least 400. I mean, it's like we know we're not far from that. We need only 79 to reach 100. While I take your call, remember to press the like button. Mzansi, hello. Mzansi, hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, sir. How are you?
I'm good.
Yes.
Yeah, Senzo Meyiwa trial. I've got that I want to touch.
Okay.
One is the issue of good. We sometimes mistakenly equivalent to smartness and education. We think it comes with being intelligent and being smart.
Yes.
Why am I saying
Why?
the presiding officer? We have the presiding officer and the prosecutor. I'm reluctant to call the presiding officer as a judge because for me, he doesn't deserve the title called a judge. The old man, unfortunately, is dragging our name as black people into the mud. Whether it's deliberate or what, because when people are watching, they are look, because more excellence, and we expect I don't know, maybe it's me, but that is very far from being black excellence. So now they are tainting other black people that are smart and intelligent. How do you say some confess? You tell the truth. But you cannot confess and lie. That is not confession. Something else. Now, at least Advocate MNISI today
you're breaking a bit. I don't know why. Yeah. I really don't know why. Oh, we're struggling to hear you. I think right now, at this point, I'm gonna drop. Let's see, I don't know what is going on. Someone, hello, Mzansi.
Hi, Nizano.
How are you?
I'm alright, thanks. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm good. Greetings to Mzansi Reality Family and everyone who's tuning in. And I would like to encourage anyone to just press the like button before we depart. But thanks, guys. Nizano, I have a question. What was the purpose of going through that confession itself? What was the purpose by Vaseline to go through that confession itself? What was the purpose? Sorry, if I can start there.
He, in a sense, wants to debunk using it. I don't know, like he wanted to debunk. Or not debunk, he wanted to say this guy is lying, that he didn't write it.
But how can it be in line with... but Mr. How can it be online when it's starting date of the incident? It's a starting date, it's the 7th. How can it be in line? It's totally off just looking at the date before you even look at the people who are inside the house. Because if you go inside the house, it says 2 women are there, which I assume is Kelly and the sister. I don't know, but there were no 2 people inside the house. So I don't know what he's trying to do, but I kind of concur with the previous call. You agree to confess.
Yes.
After you confess, you are lying on the confession. So how is that a confession now? Because it's not true. The day, if you can verify just the day of the event, it's not true. And now, I'm not a lawyer, but whatever evidence and allowance that they were trying to do, I don't get it. You cannot say because the person mentioned has got dreadlocks and this one has dreadlocks, it means it's the same guy. No, you can't do that. Man. Because how many people have got dreadlocks in this world? Yeah, and then you bring accused 3 who's never mentioned in there. And then you say, do you know him? And see, you got the same answer for all those questions because it's different things from that confession. I don't know it. And to confirm that he is telling the truth about McKinsey and the other guy. It's the same guys that in time they said, these guys, when they called me, they were looking for these guys. So you can tell that, so the police already knew this name, they already knew this tenant. So there is no way that they would have, they would have gone about it. But let's see how we go on the weekend, see how we eventually land. Because I don't know where we're going with this concession to confirm it, but the question is we doesn't know.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yo, aye, bafowethu. Sibonga kakhulu. Thank you. Bonik Bikwayo, thank you very much. God bless you. Siyabonga. Press the like button, guys. I think on my way out. Emily, anything?
Nothing from me, guys. Nothing. I'm just already thinking, what am I going to do tomorrow? Because I promised y'all that tomorrow I'll be here.
I hope I'll be well rested.
Yeah, you must rest. You must rest.
Yeah. So thank you very much, guys. If you didn't take your call now and you got disturbed, you still have time. Even tomorrow we'll be here.
No, we must be here because our people have a lot to say.
We have a lot to say, and it's smart, man. I mean, most of these things I see you guys. A lot of you are calling. Hey, but it's cartel of it.
No, we have to. That's why it's important that tomorrow we need to come, guys. Same time tomorrow after 10. Okay. After 10.
Thank you.
We're gonna be here.
Forgive us for not taking your call. Like right now, I can see you guys are calling. Forgive us for that. I am definitely tired myself.
Of knowledge that we are receiving.
You guys are sharing good stuff, but you need the proper energy. Thank you very much for now. Press the like button. Till tomorrow. We are getting in even tomorrow. Saturday, but we'll be here. Thank you.
Yeah, we have to. I promise. A promise is a promise, okay? Until tomorrow, you guys. It's a bye from us.